I'm Amy, I'm 20 years old and I have type 1 diabetes and I was diagnosed in March this year. So before I got diagnosed, I'd eat whatever food whenever I wanted. I wouldn't have to think about what was in it. I'd never thought about carbohydrates, sugar content. I'd just eat what I wanted when I wanted. My symptoms were, the first came on as my vision started to change, blurred vision. Then over the next few days the blurred vision got a lot worse. Thirst started, it's like a raging thirst. It's not just when you're a tiny bit thirsty. Anything that you can drink possibly, you want to get in you. And a lot of urinating during the night. I went to the doctors after my symptoms have gone on for a few days and people around me were starting to notice the severity of them a lot more than me. So I went to the doctors with my mum, which I don't usually do. And I got there and she took a urine sample to test my ketones and took a little prick of blood from my finger. And as soon as she saw my blood sugar, she said, we're going to have to call 999 and get you an ambulance. So from that moment, I started to panic because I wasn't taking the symptoms as serious as I should have done. When I was first told I had diabetes, I didn't know anyone with it around me, but actually I do, I just didn't realise it. And then when the nurse told me I'd have to do multiple daily injections, it was a big shock because I'd never heard of that before. I thought it might just be at the time that when I was in the hospital and I wouldn't have to do it for the rest of my life. And then getting home the next few days, realising that it stuck with me forever was like a daunting feeling. When I was first diagnosed, my friends were similar to me and they didn't know many people who had diabetes. There's a couple who do, but the ones who don't were quite intrigued, so I had to sort of explain it over and over again. But still, even now, they do get mixed up between when I'm high and when I'm low. And when I'm low, they say, oh, you should take some insulin. But I'm like, no, I really shouldn't do that. It gets a bit frustrating sometimes, but it's okay because they don't have it themselves. Having diabetes as a young adult is difficult because it makes you different to a lot of your friends and you have to worry about a lot of things that they don't worry about. So going out for meals and going out drinking is a lot different. My diabetes has affected me at work in both good ways and bad ways. My work are really good at giving me time off for appointments, understanding that I do need to come to the clinic, I do need to go to the doctor sometimes, and I'm going to need time off for that. But sometimes it can be quite difficult, say if I have a hypo at work and they might not understand what's happening to me. Might panic a bit more than I would because it's obviously I know how it affects me and what could happen. And also my work are really good at understanding my hypo symptoms sometimes before I do. So they can say, oh, you've gone a bit pale or are you shaking a little bit? My diabetes can affect my social life when I'm out with my friends. Sometimes I won't want to inject if I'm out with a large group of friends as to when I'm with a smaller group of my friends. So my blood sugars can be running a bit high. So when we're out and about we can eat a lot, drink a lot, and there's lots of little bits here and now. So you don't want to be injecting then and again in 5 minutes. And carb counting as well, when you're distracted and you're in a group of friends and you're having a laugh, you don't want to be stopping and thinking about how many carbs are in a drink. So I come to clinic on my own, but it's okay because all the nurses are all really friendly, so I don't feel like I need to have anyone with me. I'm on Definitely at the moment, which is a course for adults learning about type 1 diabetes. Before I came on the course I was a bit unsure about it because I thought it might be boring and I might already know the content which we're going over. But when I've got here, it's actually really good, really interesting. We learn all about carb counting, different types of insulin and how different foods affect us. We practice carb counting in real life with our lunches and Claire even brought us Subway, so it's really good fun. So in the future I am worried about the longer term complications, but being on Daphne has sort of calmed that a little bit. I've learned that if you keep your HbA1c down, the longer term effects decrease a lot, the lower your HbA1c is compared to higher ones.